Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, September 4th, 2025. MLB, WNBA, soccer, tennis, the NFL season opener, NFL power rankings, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with baseball. We'll go over the results from yesterday, look ahead to today's games. Weird thing about today, we have matinee games, but they don't start till 4 o'clock Eastern. Nationals over the Marlins 10-5, Tigers over the Mets 6-2, D-backs over the Rangers 2-0, O's over the Padres 7-5, so best bet 1. Pirates over the Dodgers 3-0, Jays over the Reds 13-9, Guardians over the Red Sox 8-1, Rays over the Mariners 9-4, Angels over the Royals 4-3, Astros over the Yankees 8-7, Braves over the Cubs 5-1, White Sox over the Twins 4-3, Brewers over the Phillies 6-3, Cards over the A's 5-1, Giants over the Rockies 10-8. All right, now today's games. Only one matinee game. I thought there were more than one. So 4 o'clock MLB Networks. It's a good game, too. Phillies Brewers. Ranger Suarez and Freddie Peralta. Just going to pull up the odds really quick. Courtesy of FanDuel. Brewers minus 126, Phillies plus 108, over under 7.5, overs minus 115, unders minus 105, Phillies plus 1.5 minus 205, Brewers minus 1.5 plus 168. That's a tough one. I'm going to go with, I almost said the Phillies. I do want to potentially take a shot there. But I'm going to go under 7.5 and minus 105. I think that's the safer play. 6:30 Dodgers Pirates. Blake Snell and Paul Skeens. Dodgers minus 124, Pittsburgh plus 106, over under 7, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Dodgers minus 1.5 plus 146, Pirates plus 1.5 minus 176. Under. Paul Skeens is an auto under. 7:30 Guardians Rays. Logan Allen and Ryan Papuai. Rays minus 162, Guardians plus 136, over under 8.5, overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Guardians plus 1.5 is minus 152. Rays minus 1.5 plus 126. I'm going to go with the Guardians plus 136. I want to take a shot. 7:40 MLB Network. Yankees Astros. Carlos Rodon and Christian Javier. Yanks minus 142. Astros plus 120. Over under 9. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Yanks minus 1.5 plus 118. Astros plus 1.5 is minus 142. Third day in a row, I'm going with Houston. The Yankees, I think, should have won the game yesterday. They blew the lead. Some bad calls by the umps. And I think that's what kind of did them in a little bit. But the Astros, like I said, did not deserve, or probably shouldn't have won yesterday. I think that was more said about the Yankees' inability to hold on to the lead with some of their relievers. And granted, like I said, there were bad calls in that game yesterday. Boone got tossed. But anyway, I'm going to go with Houston plus 120. I don't know why Rodon is a road favorite against a good team. I'm sorry. Angels Royals. Kyle Hendricks and Noah Cameron. Royals minus 156, Angels plus 132, over under 9.5, overs plus 102, unders minus 124. Angels plus 1.5 is minus 154, Royals minus 1.5 is plus 128. I'm going to go with an alternate under 8.5 plus 124. And last but not least, White Sox Twins. There's only 6 games tonight, which is, I think it was because of football. They want to conflict. Frazier Allard and Taj Bradley. Twins minus 154, White Sox plus 130, over under 8.5, overs minus 115, unders minus 105. White Sox plus 1.5 is minus 162, Twins minus 1.5 plus 134. I like the over in that spot. Now we'll move on to the WNBA. We'll go over the results from yesterday, and I believe we have games today as well. Dream over the Sparks, 86-75. Sky over the Sun, 88-64. All right, 3 shows. Or I'm sorry, 3 games, 3 shows. They're all shows too. Because the WNBA is fun. 7:30 on Prime Video, Mercury Mystics. The Mystics are an underdog of 9.5 points. Now 9 points, total 158.5. Tough one. I'm going to go with the Mercury. I'm going to lay the points. I know it's on the road. 10 o'clock Wings, Valkyries. The Vals are giving 12 totals, 159.5. Dallas just keeps shoving it in my face. I'm not betting on Dallas again. I'm laying the points with Golden State. And 10 o'clock on Prime Video, Lynx Aces. Lynx are a 2-point favorite. Totals 163.5. I'm taking the Aces plus the 2, plus 160. I'm going back to the wall again with betting against the Lynx in meaningless games for them, where they should be sitting players and getting ready for the playoffs. I'm going to go with the Aces, who have a point to prove. Plus 2 and plus 116 on the money line. Okay, now move on to soccer. We'll go over the results of note from yesterday. And today's a big soccer day. So we'll begin with the results from yesterday of note. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of them. Today's a busier day, like I said earlier. A friendly yesterday, Qatar and Bahrain 2-2 draw. World Cup qualifying, Gabon over Cyclists 4-0. CONCACAF, Washington over Vancouver 4-0. In the women's, America over Chirolo FC 9-0. USL, Indy over Hartford 2-0. League One, Portland over Greenville 3-2. Richmond over Westchester 2-0. All right, big slate today. Group stage of FIFA World Cup qualifying. Where things stand right now, Turkey is up 3-1 on Georgia in the 81st minute. Lithuania and Malta is 0-0 draw in the 77th minute. And then we have a final. Wales over Kazakhstan 1-0. All right, coming up in about an hour, 2:45, Bulgaria and Spain. Spain's a 20-1 favorite. Bulgaria's 25-1 as an underdog, and the draw's 11-1. I'm going to do a bold pick of over 4.5 goals at plus 154. I think Spain can do it. Liechtenstein in Belgium. Belgium's minus 20,000. Liechtenstein is plus 10,000. The draw is 55-1. For this one, I'll go under 4.5 goals at plus 116. Luxembourg against Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland's plus 130. Luxembourg's plus 270. Draws plus 185. I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to go with the draw at plus 185. Slovakia, Germany. Germany minus 290. Slovakia plus 650. Draw plus 390. Going over 3.5 goals at plus 156. Next up, we have Netherlands, Poland. The Dutch are minus 425. Poland's 9-1. The draw's 5-1. We're going over 3.5 goals at plus 130. All right, next in soccer is Calm the Ball. All evening games. 7:30 tonight, Argentina, Venezuela. Argentina's minus 500. Venezuela's 13-1. The draw's plus 480. Argentina's a team on a mission. We'll go over 2.5 goals, minus 118. Colombia, Bolivia. Colombia minus 1100. Bolivia is 22 to 1. The draws plus 750. Over 3.5 goals plus 120. Paraguay, Ecuador. Paraguay plus 125. Ecuador plus 250. Draw plus 170. I'm going to go with the draw at plus 170. Uruguay, Peru. Uruguay minus 270. Peru plus 750. Draw plus 310. Over 2.5 goals plus 154. And 8:30, Brazil, Chile. Brazil minus 650. Chile's 13 to 1. The draws plus 550. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals at even money. All right, next group is CONCACAF. Only 2 games. 5:30, Suriname and Panama. Panama's minus 130. Suriname's plus 380. The draws plus 240. Over 2.5 goals plus 112. And then 10 o'clock is Guatemala and El Salvador. Guatemala's minus 130. El Salvador's plus 380. The draws plus 230. Over 2.5 goals plus 142. And then in the CAF. So going on right now, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, 1-1 draw, 82nd minute. 80th minute, Cape Verde over Mauritius, 2-0. 69th minute, Libya over Angola, 1-0. 71st minute, Ecuador Guinea over Sao Tome and Principe, 3-2. 74th minute, Madagascar over Central Africa Republic, 2-0. And in a final, Chad, Ghana, 1-1 draw. Right, 4 games left today, all 3 o'clock. Cameroon and Eswatini. Cameroon's minus 800. Eswatini's 22 to 1. The draws plus 550. Over 2.5 goals minus 110. Algeria and Botswana. Algeria minus 550. Botswana 13 to 1. The draws plus 460. Over 2.5 goals minus 116. Tunisia and Liberia. Tunisia is minus 500. Liberia is 13 to 1. The draws plus 430. Over 2.5 goals minus 118. And then Mali and Comoros. Mali's minus 270. Comoros is 8 to 1. The draws plus 290. Over 2.5 goals at plus 128. So, is that it for soccer? I'm just going to double check. Make sure there's nothing else on. Yeah, we're good with soccer. All right, next up's the U.S. Open. We'll go over the results from yesterday. Look ahead to today coming up. We'll start with the men's. Quarterfinals. 1 seed Genix Center over 10 seed Lorenzo Musetti in 3 sets. And 25 seed Felix Algaraz-Salame over 8 seed Alex Demeter in 4 sets. Women's yesterday. 23 seed Naomi Osaka over 11 seed Carolina Muchova in 2 sets. And 8 seed Amanda Anisimova over 2 seed Iga Swiatek in 2 sets. All right, today we have the semifinals, 7 o'clock. 1 seed Arena Sablenka and 4 seed Jessica Pegula. Should be a good match tonight. Sablenka's minus 330, Pegula's plus 260. That's a good one. I am looking at Sablanka 2-1. I'm trying to find it. Set betting. Sablanka 2-1 plus 260. And then 8 o'clock is 23 seed Naomi Osaka and 8 seed Amanda Anisimova. Osaka's minus 114. Anisimova's minus 105. I'm going to go with Osaka minus 114. I think she's hot right now. By the Australian Open next year, she's going to be top 10. So I'm going to say Osaka minus 114. Men's semis is tomorrow. Women's championship Saturday. Men's championship on Sunday. Okay, now move on to the NFL season opener, which is tonight. It's all we've been waiting for, right? Cowboys-Eagles from Philadelphia. My projections, Eagles by 12, total 47 and 3/5. And we have 8.5 and 48.5. I'm laying the 8.5. I'm sorry. I think everyone, their mother is picking Dallas to cover and making up the Super Bowl hangover narrative. Best player on the field is going to be Saquon Barkley. He was obviously the number one player in the NFL top 100. And this just screams blowout. I mean, the Cowboys backdoor, so be it. Obviously, the Thursday night games are never in the Fab Five. Unless if it's Thanksgiving. But I am going to lay the 8.5 of the Philadelphia Eagles against the Cowboys, who are still reeling from the Micah Parsons trade. All right, now I'm going to do the power rankings for the season. I'm going to go from 32 to 1. This might take a little while. Again, so be it. Just going to run off some bold predictions for every team. All right. Number 32 is New Orleans Saints. They host the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. My bold prediction for the New Orleans Saints is that they will have more than 2 starting quarterbacks this season. You could say that about the Browns too, but the Saints are just an awful team and are tanking. And there's going to be a lot of guys that I think could be had in trades as well. So it could be Jake Kaner, it could be Tyler Shuck, it could be Spencer Rattler. Is Spencer Rattler still there? I don't even know. But the Saints have a lot of quarterbacks, and I think that they'll start more than 2. And maybe they acquire somebody, maybe somebody gets hurt. But I think they start they start more than 2 quarterbacks throughout the season. So, Rattler, Show, and Hainer. Yeah, I was right about Rattler being on the team. Number 31 is the Cleveland Browns. You could make a case they should be 32, but I went with the Saints instead because at least the Browns have Myles Garrett. The Saints don't. That's what it came down to. The Browns host the Bengals in week 1. The Bengals are going to be a lot of people's survivor pool picks. So will Arizona, by the way. So my bold prediction for the Cleveland Browns is that Kevin Stefanski will finally be fired at the end of the season. I say finally because I predicted this probably every year. into my team bold predictions. But I think it's finally going to happen. I mean, that's a dysfunctional organization. I have them going 3-14. Number 30 is the New York Football Jets. They start the season hosting the Steelers. My bold prediction for the New York Jets is that they will trade Breece Hall. I think that Breece Hall hasn't kind of fell off last year, and then the Jets weren't paying him, and that's always a sign of we're ready to move on from you. And I'm going to say the team that acquires him will be... And this is based off the fact that I think that this team's star running back is going to be out for the season. And maybe they trade for the guy in the contract year but let him go. The Houston Texans. And they won't give up a lot for him either. And then people are going to be killing the Jets for it. Number 29 is the Indianapolis Colts. They start the season hosting the Dolphins of Miami. That's probably the worst game of the week. Although I'm interested in watching it, though. Not gonna lie. My bold prediction for the Colts is that the first head coach fired will be Shane Steichen. That team, obviously, somewhat new ownership after the passing of Jim Irsay. They picked Daniel Jones to be their starting quarterback over Anthony Richardson. So, yeah, sounds appropriate. Number 28, the New York Football Giants. They are at Washington to start the season. First team we get to where they're on the road. That's weird is how it broke out. My bold prediction for the New York Football Giants is that Jackson Dart will start a game before October. And I'm going to say it's week 4 against the Chargers. My guess is that maybe they split the first two. Especially if they do start 0-3, I do think there's a possibility that happens. And even if it's 1-2, I think it happens. If it's 2-1, then it won't happen. But this is me banking on them either being 0-3 or 1-2. And then they bring in Jackson Dart, and then he gives the team hope for the future like he did show in the preseason. And ultimately, because of Jackson Dart, Brian Daboll and Joe Shane saved their jobs. And you guys remember I defended John Mara for keeping them around because I think John Mara forced them to pay Daniel Jones. And I think the fact that John Mara kept those two guys tells you that it wasn't their call to extend Daniel Jones. It was the owner. That it was the owner's call. Number 27, I have the Tennessee Titans. So the team that ended up with the number 1 overall pick in the draft last year, or last April, is not in the bottom 5. They start the season at Denver. Very, very tough game for them. My bold prediction for Tennessee is that despite being 7-10 and exceeding expectations, the team moves on from Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan wasn't good last year. Granted, Will Levis. But I do think that Cam Ward will show promise. But this is another dysfunctionally bad organization. And the reason why I'm making this prediction is because he was almost 1 and done last year. That's why. Number 26 is the Atlanta Falcons. They opened the season at home against the Buccaneers in a game. You could make a case they have to win if they want to be a surprise in the NFC this year. My bold prediction for the Falcons is that Bijan Robinson will not be in the top 5 in rushing touchdowns. Saquon, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. I think I might have said Derrick Henry twice. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey, and then pick one. Oh, and Jahmyr Gibbs. There you go. There's your 5. They'll all finish out of them. Bijan maybe will be 6 or 7. Number 25, the Carolina Panthers. They opened the season at Jacksonville. My bold prediction for the Panthers is that Bryce Young will throw for 30-plus touchdowns. I know it's a bold prediction considering that they just traded away Adam Thielen. But I think a lot of this is McMillan. I think a lot of this is Xavier Legette, who I really like. So he had 15 TD passes last year. I think he doubles that and gets to 30. And they'll still finish 7-10. Number 24 is the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, I have the Falcons and the Panthers with better records than the Cowboys, with the Cowboys ahead of them in the power rankings, and that is only because the Panthers and the Falcons are in a weak division with the tanking Saints in it, and the Cowboys, despite losing Micah Parsons, are in a good NFC East with the two teams that made the conference title game last year. I know no Micah. My bold prediction for Dallas. Would it be bold enough to say that Brian Schottenheimer's one and done? That would be insane. I mean, we've had one and done coaches in the past, obviously. The one guy from the Niners, Jim Tomazula. He had the guy from the Texans and Lovie Smith. So he had 2 one and dones in Houston in a row. The guy that was Rodgers' OC in Denver, I forget his name. Obviously, Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. I did correctly predict Antonio Pierce 1.5 and done last year. But I don't know if I really am going to do it, because maybe the Cowboys know that they're going to end up being rebuilding. So maybe they won't pull the trigger. So I will say that both George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb both get to 1,000 receiving yards. Be a little bit more positive with them. Number 23, the New England Patriots. They start the season hosting the Raiders. That is a game. Like, the loser to me is probably not making the playoffs. Although I have seen people pick both teams, like the Raiders, Bill Simmons, both the Raiders and New England to make the playoffs. I gotta be honest with you, I don't have either in. But it wouldn't shock me if either of them made it. But it would shock me if they both made it, if that makes sense. So my bold prediction for New England is that of the second-year quarterbacks, Drake May will have the least amount of touchdown passes. I mean, that's nothing against him. It's just that Penix, McCarthy even, and Caleb Williams all have better talent skill position-wise around him. Number 22 is the Miami Dolphins. They opened the season at the Colts. My bold prediction for Miami is that Mike McDaniel's fired at the end of the season. You're already hearing how much dysfunction there is in that organization and whatnot. Peter Schrager had the balls to pick them to make the playoffs. But yeah, that's a bit of a crazy prediction. Number 21 is the Arizona Cardinals. They opened the season at New Orleans. My bold prediction for Arizona is that Marvin Harrison Jr. will have more than 10 receiving touchdowns. He was disappointing last year. No fans or buts around it. He was hyped up to be special. I mean, he had 8 touchdowns last year. Let's just say he's going to have more than 12. And he'll have over 1,000 receiving yards. So he'll have a good second year. He'll make a jump into the... I think he's going to be a notch below the... I think he's going to be really good to the point where he's a notch below, like, Jamar Chase and that group. Number 20 is the Seattle Seahawks. They are hosting the Niners to start the season. My bold prediction for them is that Sam Darnold leads the league in interceptions. I don't think will have as good as a season as he did in Minnesota last year. And his offensive line stinks, and I think he's going to be rushing to throw the ball. 19 is the Las Vegas Raiders. They are at New England to start the season. My bold prediction for the Raiders is that Ashawn Gentry will have less than 10 rushing touchdowns. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's an injury or whatnot. The Raiders have a good offensive line, so that's what scares me. But, like I said, maybe there's an injury. And sometimes these guys are very hyped that are highly taken. I don't think Saquon Barkley probably had that many in his rookie year because he won Rookie of the Year, but I have somebody else winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I don't think Gentry's going to be bad, but I just don't think he's going to have a lot of touchdowns because I think the Raiders are going to try to pass a little bit with the tight end they have. And Geno Smith's got a good arm. Number 18 is the Chicago Bears. They host the Vikings to start the season. My bold prediction for the Bears is that they are a better team in the second half of the season than in the first half. I'm not saying that they're going to be as bad as the Panthers were last year, but I think they're going to have like the opposite season of what they had last year. Like last year they got that good start and they fell apart. This year I think they start slow and then turn it around late in the season. So, point of this prediction is that in their final 9 games, they're, I'm going to say 6-3 or something like that. Probably better, or 5-4 or better. In the second half. 17 is the Washington Commanders. They host the Giants to start the season. A lot of people are going to be picking them in their survivor pools. My bold prediction for Washington is that the veterans on their roster will start to show their age, like Bobby Wagner and Von Miller and guys like that. I think that's why so many people are down on them this year. Number 16 is Los Angeles Chargers. They start the season tomorrow in Brazil against the Chiefs. My bold prediction for the Chargers is that, it's funny, I said that Ashawn Jinty would have less than 10 touchdowns. I'm going to predict that Omarion Hampton has more touchdowns than Ashawn Jinty. But I did say Ashawn Jinty has less than 10 rushing touchdowns. He could have receiving touchdowns. I could get it to 10, but I don't think he's going to have 10 or more rushing touchdowns. But I'm going to say Omarion Hampton has more rushing touchdowns than Ashawn Jinty. 15, Pittsburgh Steelers. They start the season at the Jets. My bold prediction for them is that Aaron Rodgers will have a better season than Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. I don't think that's a hyperbole, and I don't think it's that bold either. I don't think Rodgers is going to be in play for comeback player of the year. Maybe he will be, based on the fact that I have the Steelers with a winning record. But I think that's more reflective of their defense and their pass rush. But I do think that he'll have a better season than both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, which Wilson, I think, is going to get benched by week 3 or week 4. And Justin Fields is just bad. 14, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They host the Panthers to start the season. My bold prediction for Jacksonville is that Travis Hunter plays both sides of the ball, but doesn't win either Rookie of the Year. I just think that this is a good rookie class. And maybe he gets hurt. And plus, it's not all about him in that offense. Brian Thomas Jr. is really good too. Don't forget about him. He is in that probably second tier of wide receivers. That level I think MHJ is going to get to this year. But this is more about how I feel about BTJ. And even their running game, I think, isn't bad either. So this is nothing against Travis Hunter. This is more of a prediction that the Jaguars are going to be more spread out in their offense. Number 13, the Minnesota Vikings. They start the season at the Bears, which is very hard. My bold prediction for Minnesota is that J.J. McCarthy will have more touchdown passes and more yards than Sam Darnold. A lot of people think that Sam Darnold will be better than J.J. McCarthy. Absolutely not. I do think that McCarthy has more around him and a better offensive line than Sam Darnold does in Seattle. So this is a talent bet rather than... or the surrounding talent bet rather than the player itself bet. Number 12, the Cincinnati Bengals. They're at the Browns to start the year. They're going to be a lot of people's survivor pool pick. My bold prediction for the Bengals is that they will give up 30 points in a game more than 10 times. I think their defense is atrocious, and they'll make the playoffs in spite of it because of their offense. Number 11, I have the Los Angeles Rams. They start the season hosting the Texans. My bold prediction for the Rams is that Devontae Adams will have under 1,000 receiving yards. I just think he's kind of washed. I mean, he hasn't been good since Rodgers was still good in Green Bay. And everyone's penciling him in like he's some super duper star Jamar Chase type of wide receiver. Nope. And oh, by the way, Browns will be good in spite of him. There's this Puka Nacua guy who is a top tier wide receiver in this league. And we'll have a much better year than Devontae Adams. 10, San Francisco 49ers. I'll have them winning the division. They start the season at Seattle, which is tricky. My bold prediction for San Francisco is that Robert Saleh makes this defense a top 5 unit. Saleh, I think, is back where he belongs as a DC, in a place where he's had success before. And I think that unit is going to gel. 9, the Houston Texans. They open the season at the Rams. My bold prediction for Houston is that Nico Collins will lead the league in receiving touchdowns. Number 8 is the Denver Broncos. They host the Titans to start the season. There are going to be a lot of people survivor pool pick 2. My bold prediction for them, and that's a second-year quarterback I forgot about when I was bringing up, I said that Drake May will have the least amount of touchdown passes among second-year guys. I didn't even mention Bo Nix. My bold prediction for Denver is that they will lead the league in pick 6s. A lot of that is Surtain and the great defense they have. So I'm going to say they lead the league in pick 6s. 7 is the Detroit Lions. They are at Green Bay to start the season, which will be very difficult. My bold prediction for Detroit is that Jahmyr Gibbs will have 10 each of rushing and receiving touchdowns. This guy is a fucking monster. And he's going to be the best running back in the league this year. I did pick Barkley for my number 1 running back coming into the season, but I think that Gibbs, from a statistical standpoint, will pass him. 6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're at Atlanta to start the season. My bold prediction for Tampa is that rookie wide receiver Emeka Egbuka will lead the team in receiving touchdowns. Chris Godwin's hurt. Mike Evans gets hurt a lot. So this is a bold prediction considering how I feel about Mike Evans. And I really like their tight end, Kate Otten, too. So this is a really bold prediction. 5, the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, the AFC champs and Super Bowl winners of 2 of the last 3 years are in the 5 spot. I just don't think their roster is as good as the teams above them. Well, one of them just leapfrogged the Chiefs because of an addition they made. It's obvious who it is. But my bold prediction for the Kansas City Chiefs is that, Super Bowl or not, this will be Travis Kelce's final season. I think he's moving into another chapter of his life and his career. Obviously, Taylor Swift, the whole deal. So I think he retires after the season. 4, the Green Bay Packers. Micah Parsons puts them ahead of the Chiefs. And Micah Parsons puts them ahead of a lot of teams. That's how good Micah Parsons is. I would have had Green Bay probably 8th or 9th. I would have had them 8 or 9 if they didn't get Parsons. That's how freaking good this guy is. They host the Lions to start the season. And my bold prediction for Green Bay is that Micah Parsons leads the league in sacks by more than 3. I think that guy's going to be a monster on his new team. He's going to have a point to prove. He's going to have a big impact, and I think that he's this year's Saquon Barkley in terms of a guy that moves teams and have the instant impact right away, just like Barkley did in Philly. Number 3 is the Buffalo Bills. They host the Ravens on Sunday Night Football to start the season. My bold prediction for Buffalo is that Josh Allen, not Lamar Jackson, will lead the NFL lead quarterbacks in rushing touchdowns. I know Lamar Jackson would be the obvious one, but Derrick Henry's also on the Ravens. And he's better than James Cook. So I'm going to say Josh Allen leads the league in rushing touchdowns by quarterbacks. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. They are at the Bills on Sunday Night Football to start the season. My bold prediction for Baltimore is that I know they're my Super Bowl winner pick. I'm going to say Mark Andrews leads tight ends in receiving touchdowns. I know Brock Bowers would be a good one. Sam Laporta would be a good one. But Mark Andrews is Lamar's favorite target, so there you go. And number 1, of course, is the Philadelphia Eagles. They're reigning Super Bowl champs. They have to be number 1. I know I have the Ravens winning the Super Bowl, not the Eagles. But if I still feel the Super Bowl, reigning Super Bowl champs, the best team, I put them at number 1, and I feel a way about the Eagles. So, my bold prediction for the Philadelphia Eagles is that either Jason Kelce or Fletcher Cox comes out of retirement and plays for the team. I don't know which one. Maybe an injury will cause that to happen, but wouldn't surprise me at all. Because I think those 2 guys still have something left in the tank. And speaking of retiring, I have something to talk about, news and notes. All right. Speaking of news and notes, that's where we're going. And then the person that's retiring is Amari Cooper. Former Raiders wide receiver, former Cowboys wide receiver. He was all over the Browns. But he had a solid career. And he told the Raiders he has no longer has the desire to play. So he's done. Alex Bregman to opt out of the deal as he's expected to enter free agency. Agent cuts ties with Ben Simmons as he's now without representation amid retirement rumors. Ohio State wants playoff expansion as increasing CFP appeal again would be for the good of the game. The Patriots to build a Bill Belichick statue, as Robert Kraft says the team will honor Bill after his coaching career ends. The Red Zone will have commercials. We talked about that on the NFL Predictions Show. I think that's terrible. Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill are in a good spot as Tua address his relationship with Hill ahead of week 1. Big extension done by the Denver Broncos. Nick Bonito can earn up to $120 million, 4-year extension for $106. The Eagles pursued a Micah Parsons trade as the Cowboys had zero interest in sending Parsons to another team in the division. I'm fascinated to see what that package would have looked like. Maybe Nakobe Dean would have been in it, or one of those young guys, Jordan Davis. I don't think they would have put in what's his face? the kid that everyone compared to Aaron Donald. They wouldn't have put him in the deal, but maybe Nakobe Dean or Jordan Davis. Anthony Richardson discussed trade as Richardson and the GM brought up possibility of move, but no request was made. Juwan Jennings and the 49ers agreed to a deal, 3 years, $10.5 million. Jacoby Myers confirms trade rumors as he reveals the Raiders said no when he was asked to be moved. The Raiders almost signed Tom Brady, as Mark Davis says that Tom was close to joining Vegas in 2020. That's wild. Lamar Jackson not thinking about contract as he's locked in for the season amid questions on contract extension. Cam Thomas signs with the Nets as he returning to Brooklyn, 1 year, $6 million qualifying offer. Awful news for the Jets. Elijah Vera Tucker out for the season with a triceps tear. That's so brutal. Matt Stafford expected to start week 1 against the Texans. Micah Parsons is pushing to play week 1 against the Packers. Matt Chapman suspended after being punished for involvement in brawl against the Rockies. Mason Miller of the Padres had an immaculate inning. Roman Anthony out 4 to 6 weeks with an oblique strain. That's brutal for Boston. That might cost him second place. That might cost him the AL East, considering that they got close. Them and the Yankees both got really close in the division because Toronto fell off a little bit. That might cost them the AL East, or a chance to win the AL East. That might cost... If anything, it's going to cost them the 2 seed that the Yankees will pass them because of this injury. This is a huge deal for Boston. The NBA is talking about a USA versus World with 3 teams of 8 players for the All-Star game. The Clippers denied the wrongdoing as the team welcomes the investigation, rejects involving Kawhi with aspiration. And this was reported that the league is looking into allegations Clippers circumvented salary cap by paying Kawhi for a job with no responsibilities. And that's it for the news and notes. Last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. It's actually going to be ESPN bet. Again, I lied. I had one in my head and I forgot it. I know it's in baseball. Oh, Pirates and Dodgers under. Oh, it's 6.5. I'll still do it. So I'm going to go with under 6.5 runs plus 105 against, or with the Pittsburgh and the Dodgers. And that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything. Look at that, everything tomorrow. Fab 5 tomorrow as well. Have a great day, everyone.